town of Eldridge was a quiet, unassuming place. The townspeople went about their lives with a sense of routine, but there was one story that everyone knew: the legend of the ghost train. They spoke of it in hushed tones, passing the tale down through generations. According to the legend, the spectral locomotive appeared at midnight, filled with shadowy figures trapped in eternal limbo. Marcus, a journalist from the city, arrived in Eldridge with a mission. He had heard the story of the ghost train and was determined to debunk it. Skeptic by nature and driven by logic, Marcus scoffed at the idea of supernatural occurrences. One evening at the local pub, Marcus overheard a conversation about the ghost train. He approached a group of elderly men gathered around a table. "Mind if I join you?" Marcus asked, pulling up a chair.
"Go ahead, son,"
replied Old Man Jenkins, the eldest of the group.
"You here to hear about the ghost train?"
"Actually, I'm here to investigate it," Marcus said with a confident smile. "I don't believe in ghosts, and I want to prove that this train is just a trick of the mind." The men exchanged uneasy glances.
"You should be careful,"
warned Jenkins.
"Many have gone to see the ghost train, but not all have returned the same."
Ignoring the warnings, Marcus made his way to the abandoned railway that night. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the dense woods. As midnight approached, Marcus stood on the tracks, his camera and notebook in hand. Hours had passed. Nothing had happened. Marcus waited patiently, his eyes straining in the darkness. He saw nothing and heard nothing except the chirping of crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves. The night was deep, and the air seemed to hold its breath along with him. The air grew still, and then it came, the distant sound of a train whistle, piercing the silence. Marcus's heart raced as he strained his eyes, trying to make sense of the growing light in the distance. Suddenly, a shimmering, translucent train roared down the tracks, its windows filled with shadowy figures staring blankly ahead. "What the?" Marcus whispered, his skepticism wavering. As the train approached, Marcus tried to leap aside, but it was too late. The spectral locomotive passed through him, leaving him cold and paralyzed with fear. His vision blurred, and for a moment, he felt as if he were floating in a void, surrounded by the mournful cries of the passengers. When he finally regained his senses, Marcus stumbled back to the town, his mind reeling from the encounter. He wandered aimlessly until he found himself in front of a shop window. He gazed at his reflection and was horrified to see his once vibrant eyes had turned pale and sunken. "No, this can't be real," Marcus muttered, touching his face. "I can't be one of them." As days passed, Marcus found himself drawn back to the railway. Each night, he felt the pull of the ghost train, its spectral presence haunting his thoughts. The townspeople watched with a mixture of pity and fear, knowing that Marcus was now one of the train's passengers, forever trapped in a cycle of ghostly encounters. In the end, Marcus learned that some legends are best left unchallenged, for the truth can be far more terrifying than the myth. And in Eldridge, the story of the ghost train continued to be told, a chilling reminder of the power of the unknown.